Good morning, America. Christmas Eve. Are you ready? Listen to talk radio, which I haven't listened to talk radio in a long time, and I've cut that out of my life for many reasons. The news, talk radio, it just takes you to a place that irritates you and gets you frustrated, right? Especially if you're listening to the talk radio that favors your side, whether you're left or right, because your side always talks about the other side, and the other side talks about your side, and it's just a constant uproar, right? So I just cut that out of my life. I got better things to do, more important things to do than that. But anyway, I'm listening to talk radio. I can't get the words out. I'm listening to talk radio. And they're talking about the officer Potter, who was just sentenced to 15 years, I think, in prison for shooting that young man, I'll say. A couple things that jump out to me, you know, and I'm not saying it was justified. I'm not here to defend her. This is just more observation on both ends, right? Number one, as on the police officer's end, you know, my thinking is, you know, why would you want to be a police officer in this day and age? Why? Right? I mean, you might as well send men and women out on the streets with no gun, just a taser and a stick and handcuffs, and say, good luck. Right? While the criminals have guns and firearms and can run from the law. If you're okay with that, then you can become a police officer, right? How many would walk off the force and say, I'm done. I'm not risking my life with the stick and a taser and handcuffs and possible backup if they show up in time, right? Would you do that? Is my question. Would you become a police officer, man or woman, in today's world? For me, it's a definite no. Number two, look at the generation of this police officer, Potter, right? I'm 47. I'm gonna guess she's between 45 and 55. I don't know. She's probably of my generation. My generation, we grew up in the 80s, right? We saw Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, all the cool movies, right? We grew up on that, right? You cannot have that mindset of that police officer of that generation in today's world. That is what I'm taking from this incident. That is what I'm taking from this situation. Is you cannot take away. I mean, have police officers of our generation in today's world to police it. You need the generation of today that wants to glorify or sympathize or have compassion for today's criminal mindset, right? That is the kind of police officer you need in today's force. And I think that makes sense, right? If you're dealing with today's modern times and society and criminals and justice system, then you need a police force of this generation today, not the generation of the 80s or prior to that. It doesn't work. And we grew up with different times, different values. So the police officer, Potter, or anyone else of that generation, or even mine, we grew up in a generation of manners, respect. We didn't really question the law. We just obeyed the law, right? You follow the law. If you just behave, then you don't have to worry about that stuff about running from the police, getting shot, getting arrested, getting tased, etc. You don't have to worry about those things for the most part. I'm 47 years old. Haven't been arrested, haven't been tased, haven't been beaten up, haven't been handcuffed, haven't been chased by the police, because I behave. I act accordingly. I obey the law. Is that hard to do? I'm of color, you know? In case anybody says, well, you know, you're white. No, I'm not white. Number two, why does the criminal always feel it's okay to run from the police, right? To run from the police and not expect to get chased, shot, tased, arrested? I mean, why do they feel like nothing should happen to me if I run? The moment that you give criminals the idea that you're not supposed to shoot at them, they can get away in the justice system. They're not going to serve any time, right? The system is designed to allow them to get right back out and commit the same things again. What reason or cause do they have to change, right? To become a good citizen? And I don't even know if they can become. I always like to give people a second chance, and I always like to assume people are going to be of character. But then I think to myself, is it too late for them? Were they just not raised? I mean, it's like trying to, and I use this metaphor or this analogy for anyone of any color, of any age, of any race, of any generation. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? I am who I am because I was raised a certain way. You can't really change that. You can't change me from being an honest, respectful, kind, obedient, law-abiding, good citizen, a man of faith. You can't change those values and say, well, can you change that mindset and not be caring, not hold the door, be disrespectful, go commit some crimes, do this and that. You can't change that characteristic. So the same applies in a good versus bad. We always want to change bad into good, but is it too late? There's no hope, right? The only hope is forced hope, is when you force someone to think about the consequences. And I've said this before. I don't condone violence, but sometimes you meet violence with violence, right? You start chopping off fingers and thumbs and hands and arms, toes and feet for people that start stealing. Oh, you want to steal? Okay, we're going to chop a finger off. We're going to chop a hand off. Okay. Oh, you still committing crimes without no finger? Okay, we're going to chop an arm off. Sex predator, if you're a sex predator, okay, we're going to chop your thing off. Oh, you like to run from the police? This is not the first time there's several incidents that you run every time. Okay, we're going to chop a toe off. But people will really start thinking, do I want to run the second time, the third time, the fourth time? Because I'm running out of limbs. And people that are watching in the news, bystanders, people that know people that have done that, they're watching like, that doesn't seem fun. I don't think I want to run from the police. People will really start thinking about that. You think about people in the Wild West, if you're into that, and you think about people that were that stole horses or cattle or committed crimes, and they said, get a rope, hang them, and they hung people, and you watch that. I bet you everybody in that audience at that time in the Wild West were thinking, you know what? I don't want to be up there. I want to be a spectator here watching somebody else. I don't want to be the person hanging on the rope. And it makes you think forcefully, do I really want to do that? Again, I'm not justifying the police officer's action, but it's kind of cause and effect, right? They had him in custody and he decided to run for whatever reason, probably because he didn't want to go to jail, whatever. But I'm like, those are consequences, because now you have the cops' emotions. You don't know what's going to happen. Be safe. Right out.